on, little car, come on, come on. Wow, this is getting serious now. That's it, come on. I think we're gonna have to go back. How's that? Did that look extreme?
If you like the Fully Charged show, then you'll love our live events.
Next up, we're in Amsterdam for Fully Charged Live Europe on the 24th, 25th and 26th of November.
Get your tickets today.
Hello, this is the new Jeep Avenger, and at first glance, it's not very good at being a Jeep. It's very small, completely electric, and really not very good going off-road. This is about as extreme as you'd want. Moreover, it doesn't even have four-wheel drive. You can't even remove the doors. Look, they're stuck on. Rubbish. And in spite of all of that, it is flipping brilliant. Let me explain. Now then, speedy refresher, because it has been a while since we did our first look studio video of this car back in January, I think. Welcome to the Jeep Avenger, the latest small urban crossover-y type thing from Stellantis, the automotive supergroup, the McBusted of cars, if you will, comprised of Alfa Romeo, Peugeot, Citroën, Jeep, Dodge, why did I start this? Ram, Fiat, others. And what we have here is very much a sister car to the likes of the Peugeot E2008, the Fiat 600 electric that I drove the other day, the Vauxhall Mokka-e. It's another little B-segment urban crossover-y thing designed mostly for city driving, but designed to be capable beyond the city when you want to do that too. And actually, it's the smallest of the bunch at a mere 407 centimetres long. It's teeny. And we had the opportunity to attend the first drive launch event for this car and spend a few hours with it and give you our first impressions, but I decided to wait. I wanted to spend a full week with this car before talking about what I think about it on camera, because it seems like everyone and their mums is raving about this thing. Of all the new Stellantis dinky crossovers, this is the one that is garnering the most attention, that is winning the most awards, including World Car of the Year. So the question of the day is quite simply, what is the big fuss about this little yellow nugget? Well, for starters, it looks fantastic, at least to my eye. It's a really compact little car, but still has that kind of boxy, brawny, rugged, Jeepy thing that you presumably are into if you're looking to buy a Jeep. It's hardly reinventing the wheel, and this car will of course be offered as a hybrid in certain countries, as well as a pure electric, so it's got a bonnet, and there is gubbins under there, and there is a gear tunnel, and it is the conventional kind of boxy car shape, but a good looking box, if you ask me. And there is some practicality as well here. This isn't just crossoveriness for the sake of crossover. So yes, of course we have the plastic cladding that is basically the law that you have to have around your wheels now, but we also have plastic cladding at the front and the back, which will be the first thing to hit in any direction, protecting your paintwork. Jeep, of course, hugely popular in Italy, where parking is done via feel, not sight. So this will be much appreciated and save you some quiche. Nice little bit of ground clearance, big, squashy tyres. Not everything has to have super low profile tyres and big rims. This is the top spec fancy version, and even so, you've got a fairly modest sized wheel and a good bit of sidewall, which really is nice to see. Incidentally, loads of fun Easter eggs dotted around this car. We've got an old Jeep Willis grille just there. There's another one in the plastics in the center. There's a kid with a telescope in the windscreen here. There's a compass here on the plastic covering the sensors. They've really let themselves have some fun with the hidden details around this car. And just a quick thing on the removable doors. Obviously I'm being facetious. I don't expect to be able to take the doors off a small city crossover. But that is, of course, a staple feature of the Jeep Wrangler, the proper Jeepy Jeep that does proper Jeepy stuff. And it's worth noting that there is an electric version or alternative coming quite soon. It's going to be called the Jeep Recon, and that will have removable doors and removable roof and be able to go proper off-road. And that in turn will be followed by a big luxury car called the Wagoneer S, a sort of BMW iX rival wafty type thing. Not mucking around, our Jeep. Well, here's one of the advantages of a boxy shaped car, big boxy boot. That is impressively sized for a car so diddy. Little false floor under here for your cables, but mainly I'm just impressed with the size of that opening. Big square opening, nice flat floor, practical Jeepy goodness. Now, as you can see, we're on a lovely rolling British B road for our filming location today, simply because it's a nice place to film. But actually, the vast majority of the driving that I have done in this car over the last week has been in London, running errands, popping to the shops, bits and bobs in the city. That is what this car is primarily designed to do, and I can wholeheartedly say it is nothing short of joyous to drive around town. Now, admittedly, it's quite hard to make a small electric car that isn't delightful to drive around town. Small electric cars are inherently fantastic at city driving. Compact dimensions, zippy powertrain, silent, relaxing, it just works. It works so nicely. But add to the recipe a few extra things that this has, namely a very tight turning circle, outstanding visibility, really good reversing camera, and a lovely squashy suspension setup, and you have just a glorious runabout. It really has been an absolute joy zipping around London in this car over the last week, and I think my Polestar, when I get back into it, is going to feel enormous and cumbersome by comparison. And it really is noticeable with this car, much like the Fiat 600 that I drove not long ago, that it's completely geared towards comfort and squash. There is no semblance of performance here, and thank goodness for that. And even more good news regarding efficiency, because this Jeep Avenger, like the Fiat 600, now sits on an updated, improved version of Stellantis' multi-energy platform. In a word, what that means is massively improved efficiency. In town, across the last week, I've been getting north of 5 miles to the kilowatt hour effortlessly. And on my drive here this morning, which was about 2 hours long and a pretty even combination of city, motorway and B roads like this, 4.4 miles to the kilowatt hour. That's without trying. That's doing silly driving, heater on, heated seat, music loud, without thinking about it. 4.4 miles to the kilowatt hour. That is hugely impressive, and it seems to be the case across all of these new Stellantis B segment cars. It's a massive, massive feather in their cap that they've improved their efficiency so dramatically, so quickly. And what that means is, on a day like today, where the weather is mild and a bit chilly, but not Baltic, you're looking at comfortably north of 220, 230 miles of real world range from that 50 and a bit kilowatt hour usable battery. Proper go anywhere range. So lovely to drive around town, perfectly capable once you get out onto the motorway. Not perfect to drive around. I've got a few very, very pedantic complaints having spent a week with it. Number one, listen to this indicator. That's silly. It sounds like a kind of percussion instrument. And at first you go, oh, that's novel. And then it happens while you're playing music and it disrupts your tunes. Not a fan. Another slightly less small gripe, as with all the other Stellantis cars, there's no one pedal driving. I either have D, which is drive with no regen braking, or there's B, which has some regen braking, but it's not enough to do one pedal driving. That's a miss for me. It's just common sense. Give me one pedal driving. Right, interior of the Jeep Avenger. This is where this car for me really starts to justify its many, many awards. I'll get my one complaint out of the way first, semi-complaint, which is that it's a little bit plasticky in here. Not a lot of the stuff that you touch feels especially high quality. It's all quite scratchy plastics. And given that this version I'm sat in is a 40 grand car, that's a little bit disappointing compared to something like the Smart #1, which costs the same. And well, there is no comparison. The latter feels infinitely more premium. This more in line with something like the MG4 in terms of material quality, a car which costs 10 grand less. But number one, you could argue that plastic is quite Jeepy. It's easy to wipe when you get mud on it from all your outdoorsing. And number two, I don't really care, because actually the stuff you use and interact with is so well done. I don't mean to make myself sound old and moany, but there seems to be more and more new cars coming out where you get in them, you prod around some menus, you fiddle with your volume, you adjust your climate control, and you just think to yourself, did anyone actually use this before putting it into mass production and inflicting it onto the general public? Did anyone think about this? Because it's so annoying that they can't have. Volkswagen, excuse me. This is the opposite. It's just so competent. It's so easy and pleasant to live with. I've had this car for the last week, and on virtually no occasion has it in any way irritated or annoyed me, and that I think is the highest praise that you can give a practical family car. And I'm always interested in seeing what's the thing that's going to draw the eye of the muggles. What's the feature in here that my friends and family who are not into cars are going to be really impressed by? And across the board, it's been one thing, and actually it's my favourite thing about this interior too: the shelf. Have a look at this. Look at this full width shelf. I will never ever be able to live without this. Every car that doesn't have it is going to be annoying to me from now on. And right now it looks all neat and tidy because we're filming, but this is what it looks like day to day. I've got my shades in there, I've got my incredibly nutritious cookies and cream protein brownie, let's ignore that. I've got my phone, I've got my keys, I've got my wallet, and you've got a cable and more keys and just stuff, life. And look at this. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. That's my entire life there. It's all within reach, but without cluttering the cabin. Absolutely love this feature. And you can remove the sort of rubbery under bits, and you can probably just stick that in the dishwasher if your child throws up in there somehow. Easy to clean. And that just typifies the cabin. It's well thought out. Storage galore. This is all pretty much the same across all the Stellantis cars. A lot of it's the same as the Fiat 600 I drove the other day. I liked it in that. I like it in this. Little screen. I thought maybe it was too small in the Fiat. I've sort of come around. I'm okay with it now. We've got our bank of climate control switches. They don't go anywhere. They all do exactly what you think. I like this storage bin with a kind of iPad screen cover type thing that's magnetic and just a bit more ergonomically pleasing than a plastic lid. We've got cup holders galore in here. Look, there's a couple down there. This is good as well. Look, some hotkeys here. We do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wireless as standard. Love that, and that's what I use 90% of the time. But if you want to go into the menus, they're just a button away, and this is great. This hotkey here has one singular purpose, and it's for taking you to the menu where you turn off the lane assist. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows in here, because as you can see, it's not the roomiest pair of back seats I've seen on a small car. I'm gonna fold myself in now and explain to you why that is. Yeah, it's doable, and this seat is a long way back because that's how I like to sit. If there was a normal person sat there, this would be just about okay. There's actually a good amount of headroom for a small car, but this is not. It's not a huge amount of legroom. And there's a couple of reasons for that, of course. Number one is that it's not an especially big car, so of course there's not going to be huge amounts of space in here. But the other, more avoidable reason is that this car is sitting on a multi-energy platform. There is a hybrid version of this car. And as we know, when you have to factor in an engine into your packaging, it eats into cabin space. It eats into, typically, rear legroom. Now, I can understand why Jeep, why Stellantis is going with this multi energy platform. I understand why there is a hybrid version of this car. Jeep is hugely popular in Italy, and in Italy about 1 in 20 new cars sold are electric. Not all parts of the world are ready to go completely electric just yet. I get it, it's an affordable way of transitioning into building electric cars for the interim. But this is the downside. The downside is that I have substantially less room back here than I would in the MG4, which sits on bespoke EV architecture. That aside, not a huge amount to report back here. There is a single USB-C port for power. That is it. I'll tell you what, this is a flipping excellent car, and I hope that this is coming across in the video. I realise I'm spending a lot of time getting excited about efficiency and storage cubbies and reversing cameras, and I know that's not especially sexy, but of course this is a small family city car. It doesn't need augmented reality seat belts and 0 to 60 in 1.5 seconds. That's not what makes a great little family car. I've said this many times before, but when it comes to cars like this that are just designed to be dailies, runabouts, the best thing they can be is not annoying in any way. Just so competent, so well thought out that at no point in your day you're going to go, oh, because you've got to fiddle with something in a menu or because it's beeping at you in some way. There is beauty in a product that just nails the brief that it was designed to nail, and this really feels like one of those products. It's so well thought out in here, it's so agreeable to live with. I think I'm really going to miss it when it goes. Okay, yes, the lane assist system did try to murder me this morning, but that's what lane assist systems do. It's what they're there for. Euro NCAP don't give you a 5-star safety rating unless you build in attempted murder. That's actually true. Side note, Euro NCAP, please stop making car brands jump through your stupid hoops. No one wants the wheel wrenched out of their hand. No one wants that. That's not safe. Separate point. I'll tell you what else. Normally, with these smaller, affordable-ish electric cars, I'll always say that the entry-level one, the base spec, is the one that you want, that's the best one. But with this little Jeep, I am so excited for the idea of an all-wheel drive, off-roading capable variant. We don't have that yet. I believe it's coming in the future. And one of these that's actually really handy off-road would just be a little gem. I could really see that becoming a cult hero, a sort of Suzuki Jimny for the automotive age. We just don't have a car like that right now. That would be a joyous little thing. I think the harshest criticism that I can come up with for this car is that it's quite expensive for what it is. Starting at north of 35 grand, going up to 40,000 pounds. That is by no means an entry-level electric car. And I know that the Stellantis group are breaking their back to get their prices as low as possible. The whole point of the Stellantis merger and the asset-light business approach and the shared multi-energy platform, all of that is in the name of finding a way of building EVs and selling them at an affordable price while keeping the lights on and the business afloat. That's the whole point of the whole enterprise. And even so, they are some way off the price points that the Chinese brands are able to hit. Unfortunately, that is just a fact of our current reality. Electric cars are still quite expensive for what they are if they don't come from China, where they have much more access to batteries and all the bits that make them expensive. That is the status quo, and it won't always be the case. They will get cheaper as batteries get cheaper and more readily available. A little expensive for what it is then, and not the roomiest in the back, but even in spite of that, this is a standout car. Even in this congested segment of smallish crossover-y electric things, of which there are now a million, this is easily one of my new favourites. It's charming, it's stylish, it's lovely to drive, but above all else, it's just so good at being a car. So there we go, the Jeep Avenger. On that razor-sharp piece of motoring journalism, I think we'll wrap it up. Please do make sure to like and subscribe, and if you have been, thanks for watching.